Hi everybody, I'm Mary Beth and welcome to my first ever video class at Barnes Sewing Center. Today we're going to feature the My Design Center and the IQ in both the Solaris and the Luminaire, also the Destiny and Dream Machine. And anybody else, please be welcome to join us, and maybe it will spur you on to get a new machine or use the parts of your other machines too. Today we're going to do an In the Hoop project. It's a hot pad that I designed in my design center. And the items that you need, I already have in the machine. We need our 9.5-inch square hoop, and it's hooped with a piece of muslin. I'm not using interfacing or stabilizer because of the hot pad. We want to use it for a hot pad, so I wanted 100% cotton in the hoop. We also need a 9.5-inch square of cotton batting, and it should be cotton, no polyester in it. We need a 10-inch square of a cotton fabric. I have muslin. You could use a print if you wanted to, but once you saw the design, a solid would be better. You need two 10 by 12-inch square pieces folded in half and pressed so they're 10 by 6. That's for the back. And then optional is a 10-inch square of Insulbrite, so that if you wanted to put this on your table and put something hot on it, it will protect your table. Okay, here we are. We're going to start our design, and we're going to go into IQ Designer, or we would be going into My Design Center. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to touch shapes. We're going to touch the square. Okay. We're going to touch size, and we are going to increase it until it is 9.3 square. We're going to hit OK. We're going to touch the fill properties. We're going to do single stitch, red, OK, the fill bucket, and touch the outline. And then I'm going to put it in the memory, in the machine. I'm going to touch next. I'm not going to change anything about the stitch length. I'm going to set it. This will convert it into a pattern and send it over into embroidery. I say OK. I need 2 of these, so I'm going to touch Edit. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to touch Move, hit Center, so they are right on top of each other. OK. And I'm also going to put these into memory. I'm going to touch Add, go to the IQ Designer. I'm going to go to my pocket, and I'm going to retrieve the square that I just put in there, touch OK. Now I'm going to go to Line Property, and I do not want it to stitch this time. Touch OK, bucket, and touch the line. I'm going to go to Shapes. I'm going to touch the rounded square, touch OK. I'm going to go to Line Properties, touch the stars, select, and I'm going to select design number 2. OK. I'm going to change the color to a brown. OK. Fill bucket, and I'm going to touch that line. Shapes, open shapes, and I'm going to touch. It's an ivy leaf, but I think it kind of looks like a maple leaf. We're going to hit OK. We're going to touch size, and we are going to shrink it to 2.0. OK. And we're going to move it to the top right corner. Line Properties. This time we're going to select single stitch. I'm going to touch orange, OK, fill bucket, and touch the outside line. We're going to go to Fill Properties, and we're going to select, and we're going to go down to design number 35. Okay. And let's do that in gold. Okay. The fill bucket and touch the inside of the leaf. We're going to go to shapes, open shapes, the leaf. Okay. We're going to size it. This time I'm going to size it to 2.3. Okay. Rotate 90 degrees to the left. Move it, and I can move it using the arrows, or I can just touch it and slide it over. Okay. Now my stitch is highlighted, so I want that single stitch on the outside, and it's the same color, so all of my leaves will be outlined the same. I have the inside also. I want that same, so I'm just going to touch the inside. And we're going to do it one more time. We're going to making 3 leaves. I'm going to touch size, and this time we're going to shrink it to 2.15. Okay, and then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees to the right, and we're going to move it down. And it just so that it's in the area so it looks like a nice grouping. We're going to hit OK. We're going to touch the fill bucket for the fill properties, touch inside, and we have that area completed. We're going to go to fill properties, select, and we're going to go down to number 27, okay, and we'll do this in green, okay. The fill bucket is highlighted, and I'm going to touch the area between the rounded square and my outside square and fill that in. Yay. Then we're going to hit next. Okay, the last one that I just completed is highlighted first, and I want to enlarge that to 175. Come on. Hit OK. I want the outline off, and I want to stitch it in single thickness. Okay. I'm going to go forward to the next part of the design, and it's the center of the leaves. I want them at 125%. And single thickness. Okay, that one is completed. I'm going to go to the next one and do the same thing, 125%. Okay. Single thickness. Okay. And to our next leaf, 125%. Okay. Single thickness. Okay. Our next design is the leaves that go around the outside. The size I like, but I want them spaced apart a little bit, so I'm going to touch the spacing. And I'm going to space them to 0.10. Doesn't that look nice? Our last stitch is our outline around the leaves, and I'm going to leave that the length that it is. So now we are all complete here, and I'm going to set it. I'm going to say okay, and there it is. We have an outline to tack down the batting, an outline to tack down the fabric, our design, and I'm going to add, I'm going into the pocket, and I'm going to bring in the square one more time, and it's on top of that, and it's going to stitch down my Insel Bright and my overlapping backing. I'm going to touch embroidery. Okay, and now we have to thread the machine. Okay, now we are going to start the sewing. The first step is to make the outline for the placement of the batting. I threaded the machine with the green because that's the first thread that I'm going to be using. This step, it really doesn't matter what color it is. When we get back to the corner, it's going to repeat again, so I'm going to stop it. I'm going to cut the thread. I'm going to place my cotton batting over the stitching. Press start. Notice when I put my batting in, I tried to line up the left edge and the top edge as close to the stitching as possible, so I only have two sides to trim away. So then you trim away the batting close to the stitching. I get my piece of cotton fabric and I lay it over the top here so that it's centered over the batting. And we will tack that down. Okay, I chose isocord threads to do this project because they don't have that high gloss that Floriani has. They are polyester threads, but they're strong. You could also use, we have King Tut in the store that's 100% cotton 40 weight. So if you wanted everything to be all cotton, you could also use that thread. Okay, now we're going to do the centers of the fall leaves. So I have a rusty gold color here. I think it's interesting to watch how the machine stitches it out, that it just doesn't do it all in one direction. Change colors here. Again, I think it's interesting how the machine decided the order of stitching. Instead of finishing the outline of the leaves, it's going to the outline of our inner square. And I decided to have a little bit of fun with it, so I'm choosing a variegated thread from Isacord. Okay, here we are. The embroidery is all finished except for the last step. So I removed the hoop, I turned it upside down, and I put the Insulbrite on here and taped the corners diagonally. I'm going to turn it right side up again. And then these are my 10 by 12 inch squares rectangles that I folded in half and pressed. And I'm going to put them on top of here, overlapping them, and I'm going to tape that down. On the sides. And we put the hoop back into the machine. And we're going to stitch this down. I'm going to stop. I'm going to raise the presser foot. I'm going to raise it to 0.1 inch. Okay. Of a feature that's on the machine. If you stop before you're going over an open area like this, and you hold the the start and stop button down, the machine will go slow until you get over that spot and you leave go, and then it will resume its speed. Okay, we are finished. I don't remember if I told you to do this, but make sure you put your design in the memory of the machine. And then because we had several steps, we brought in several parts of the design. If you hit the multiple selection key touch the pink highlighted one, say okay. You hit delete, and it removes it all at one step. We're going to remove the hoop from the machine. Loosen the hoop. Remove the project from the hoop. We'll remove the tape. And then we are going to trim our corners diagonally and trim approximately 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of the design. Get rid of the excess bulk, and then we turn it right side out. Gently poke the corners out with a pair of shears or a corner turner, and then you would go to the ironing board and give it a nice pressing. One more corner to go here. Here we are. Here is our project made in the hoop. We give it a good pressing. And then if we would like to, it is not stitched down, but if you wanted it to be nice and stitched down, I went to the sewing machine and just top stitched right along the decorative stitch on the inner square. Hope you enjoyed this class. If you have any questions, there are some directions that we will have in the store. Also, I just wanted to show you that we have another product besides the Insulbrite in the store that you could use. It's hot and cold barrier fleece, and this would also be good for the project. So happy sewing, everybody.